Hey folks, Crazy Clever 80 here again, and we're going to look at game number 9 in our 20 from 1982 series, and this was a revolutionary racing game created by Namco and licensed to Atari in the US. It had really impressive sprite scaling for its time, and this is pole position. And this was everywhere in the arcades. I believe I first saw this. This also has a cockpit version. I believe I first saw this at a grocery store called Thriftway. But the cockpit version has both a gas and brake pedal, and the upright only has a gas pedal. And both, of course, have a steering wheel and a high-low gear shift. But this was such a cool game for its time. Your basic goal in the game is to complete a time trial lap, a qualifying lap, in time to try to be among the top 8 racers, and then you will race at the Fuji Racetrack versus 7 other cars. As long as you make that top 8, then you get to play the Fuji Racetrack. If you don't make the top 8, your game will end. But even if you don't make the top 8 by the time that you reach the finish line, then you'll still be able to race if you have a little bit of time. And let's get started here. Yeah, the sprite scaling of the borders was really impressive. I'm not good at this, but the slight turns, the slight curves, you can actually stay on the gas and just about stay going straight. Your car will adapt to the curve a little bit, but the tighter curves, you will probably need to lay off the gas or shift into low. And there I qualified as I reached the finish line. But again, if you did not qualify, or if you were not among the top 8 times, then you'll be allowed to keep racing if you have time to reach the finish line, and just when you run out of time, your game will end. But I made it to the Fuji Raceway, or whatever it was called, Fuji Racetrack. Whoops, crap. Note that there are advertising signs on the side of the road. There's signs for Marlboro, Pepsi, Namco, and Champion. And that is the Namco version signs. And they took out Marlboro for the US because they didn't want kid smokers. And there will be checkpoints that give you extended play by about 40 seconds or somewhere around there. But there will be like 2 or 3 checkpoints where you can get your time restored. Oh crap! On this course. And note that we now have little puddles of water. They don't really do much to you, or maybe not anything. And if you run out of time, you will get a bonus for all the cars that you had passed. And I screwed up, so I'm going to put in the last 3 initials of my last name, Shiley, S-H-I. But that's pole position, and if you make it through this whole course, then the game will end, and you'll have a gal waving the finish line at the finish line, or waving the checkered flag at the finish line. But yeah, this was pretty incredible for its time. This really set the standard for just about all racing games to follow. They would most of them would have the 3D above and behind viewpoint of the car. And again, the sprite scaling was so much improved over any over any racing game before it. But we will look at me completing the what was I going to say? You know what? Yeah, we will look at me completing this this Fuji Racetrack. Yeah, I put on an invincibility cheat. I just wanted to make it all the way through because I knew I couldn't do it without cheats. So I just wanted you to see what it looks like. I put on an invincibility cheat that allows me to plow through cars or signs. And I put on infinite time as well. But the US version, the US ROM, or ROMs of pole position, had different signs. They had Dig Dug, Centipede, Atari, pole position, Namco, and Namco Amusement Creator signs. There was a sequel to pole position 2 in 1983. Had slightly improved graphics. I didn't think it was a fantastic sequel. It was all right. Had some cool things. I think you got more tracks to choose from, which was nice. And I think there will be one more. Yeah, you have low and high gear shift, and you'll need to learn when to use which curves. And again, the slight curves, your car seems to automatically turn a little bit on, so you won't really need to do anything on those for the most part. And then you'll have to recognize the tighter curves. And here's the finish line. And I needed to take off the infinite time cheat. You get a bonus for all the cars you passed, and then a bonus for all the time you have remaining. And you need to take off the infinite time cheat so that it'll be able to properly count the rest instead of looping over. There we go. And now I'll put in my initials, but that was the ending of pole position if you can make it that far. There was a cartoon of pole position in 1984, very, very short-lived, created by I think DIC, D-I-C, which was run by was it Andy Hayward and a French guy. But they did all sorts of cartoons. They did Inspector Gadget, they did Heathcliff and the Cadillac Cats. Very proficient animation company in the 80s and early 90s. But that is Pole Position, created by Namco and licensed to Atari in the US in 1982. A seminal racing game. A lot of its elements were present in later racing games, and we'll look at the US signs in a second here. The signs in the US version: there's Dig Dug, there's Centipede, there's a pole position sign, and Namco Amusement Creator, and there's Atari and Namco signs. But that's Pole Position, created in 1982 by Atari, or by Namco, and licensed to Atari. And there you see it says an Atari blimp next to prepare to qualify in the Atari US ROMs. I'm just not terribly good at this game, sorry. But That was Pole Position, created by Namco and licensed to Atari in the US in 1982. I thank you for watching. Hope you continue to enjoy the rest of your summer. Enjoy football next week, folks. Have a good one, everybody, and I shall see you later. Bye-bye.